Windrose lost 94% of its players in 3 months. Its reviews are still 87% positive. So who is right? Because both of those things are true at the same time, and that almost never happens. Let's go through it properly. Quick recap for anyone who missed this one. Windrose is a pirate survival game. Build, craft, sail, fight solo or with up to 8 friends. It came out in early access on April 14 this year, from a studio called Karakin Express, published by Pocket Pair. Remember that last part, it matters later. It launched huge, 69,000 players on day 1. By April 19, it peaked at 210,000 concurrent players. It sold 1 million copies in 6 days. For an indie survival game, that's huge, that's an amazing start. Now here is July. Average daily players this month, 6,700. Peak this month, under 13,000. So yeah, something happened. But before we talk about why, I want to fix something because I have seen these numbers thrown around and it's wrong. You will see people saying Windrose lost 97% of its players. That number comes from comparing the all-time peak to today's average. That's not a fair comparison. A peak is the busiest single moment of the biggest weekend. An average includes 4 in the morning on a Tuesday. If you compare peak to peak, April's peak versus July's peak, it's 94%. If you compare average to average, it's 87%. It's still bad, but if you are going to criticize a game, use the real number. Otherwise, you are just doing damage for clicks. Okay, let's see why is this happening. It wasn't a scandal. There was no controversy, no monetization disaster, no review bomb. Nobody got angry at this game. Here is what happened instead. In late April, Karakin Express announced their first big content update, a new biome called the Ashlands. And they were honest about the timeline. They said it would take at least 6 months to deliver. Now think about what a survival game actually is. You play it, you build a base, you beat the bosses, you finish the content and you stop. That's not a failure. That's a game working. Windrose ship with the 3 biomes and a 50 to 70 hours story. People play it, finish it and left. And then there was nothing to come back for 6 months at least. They ship a patch on April with 50 plus fixes, 40 new building pieces, a good patch, but building pieces don't bring back someone who has already finished the game. There is also still no dated roadmap. They promised one after launch, it hasn't shipped. That's the whole story. No villain, just a gap. And look, that's a boring answer. I know a lot of channels would rather tell you the studio is dying, but I would rather to be right than dramatic. If you're into that, like and subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel more than you would think. Now here is the part that made me want to make this video. I said remember the publisher, Pocket Pair. Pocket Pair also made the Palworld, and Palworld did exactly the same thing. They hit 2.1 million concurrent players in January 2024. 2 weeks later it was down to 750,000. That was the biggest 2-week players drop in Steam history at the time. Then it kept failing. For 2.5 years it sat in the tens of thousands. Every few months someone wrote another article asking what went wrong with Palworld. This month July, a few days ago Palworld left early access, version 1.0. 855,000 concurrent players that weekend, 96% positive reviews. The following weekend it hit 956,000. Nearly 1 million players on a game everyone had written off twice. That's the pattern. Survival games don't die when the players count drops. They go quiet and then the update lands and they wake up again. So when you see Windrose at 6,000 players and someone tells you the game is dead, the exact same publisher just proved that argument wrong 2 weeks ago. And this is the part people mix up. When a live service game loses 90% of its players, that's the error. Because in those games, the players are the game. Empty lobbies, dead matchmaking, nothing works. Windrose isn't that. You can play it completely solo and offline. You can host your own server. 6,000 players or 600,000, the game plays identically. The number on that chart doesn't touch the experience. I went deep on why that split is happening across the whole industries in my long video on a single player games coming back. I will put the link in the description, you can check that video. But the short version is, the metric everyone uses to declare games dead only makes sense for one type of game, and this one isn't that type. I'm not going to pretend that everything's fine. There is a number that actually worries me, and almost nobody is talking about it, and that's the wishlist. In March before launch, Windrose has over 1.5 million wishlists. Today it has 922,000. That's 600,000 people who wanted this game, wanted to play it, and decided no, we don't want it anymore. Player count dropping is normal. That's people who finish the game. Wishlist dropping is different. That's people deciding not to start. Because here is the thing, the comeback only works if there are still new players to come back to. Palworld had 40 million people who would already bought in. Windrose has 3.3 million. That's a smaller pool. So the Ashlands update doesn't just need to be good. It needs to be good enough to get people who already said no to change their minds. So here is where I land. Windrose is not a failure. It sold 3.3 million copies, made around $60 million, and it's sitting at 87% positive across 50,000 reviews. The people who play it, they like it. That never changed, not once. What Windrose has is a scheduling problem, not a quality problem. They shipped a great game, but the problem is the huge gap in between. 6 months long, no content. That's the problem. If Ashland is good enough in October, the players come straight back and everyone forgets it's ever happened. So no, I don't think Windrose is dying. I think it's holding its breath. The question is how long it can hold it. If you like these kind of videos, subscribe and tell me in the comments, are you waiting for Ashland or did you already moved on? Thanks for watching, see you next time.